Hi guys and welcome to Crazy Pepper Revenge. This channel is all about crazy true stories, stuff that happens in real life when things get a little bit messy.
I'm a forensic accountant for the FBI. Been doing it for about 15 years now. My whole career has been about spotting patterns, finding the details everyone else misses, tracking down criminals through their money trails. I'm good at what I do, really good, which makes it absolutely insane that I almost got homicided by my own wife and didn't see it coming. Let me back up. My name's Marcus, I'm 42, and I work at the FBI field office in Philadelphia. Valentine's Day last year started like any other day. I was buried in paperwork for this massive money laundering case, barely thinking about the holiday at all. Then around 2 p.m., a delivery guy shows up with this gorgeous flower arrangement. White blooms, baby's breath, dark green leaves, the whole 9 yards. Card says, "To my incredible husband, happy Valentine's Day, all my love, Sienna." Sienna's my wife. Well, was my wife. We'd been married 7 years at that point. My coworkers immediately started giving me crap about it. My buddy Derek from the next cubicle over was like, "Marcus is going soft. Your wife's got you whipped." And everyone's laughing. I smiled along, but something felt wrong. Sienna wasn't the romantic type. In 7 years of marriage, she'd never once sent flowers to my office. She usually forgot Valentine's Day existed, said it was just corporate manipulation. Last year, she actually got annoyed when I made dinner reservations. I'm sitting there staring at these flowers, trying to figure out why this feels off, when Patricia walks by. Patricia's our office administrator, early 30s, and super sharp. She left medical school in her final year when her dad died suddenly and she had to sort out the family finances. We've become pretty good friends over the years. She gets how my brain works, and I've learned a ton from her medical knowledge. Patricia stops dead when she sees the flowers. Her face goes completely white. "Marcus," she says, and her voice is shaking. "Don't touch those again." I look up at her like she's lost it. "What are you talking about?" She grabs my arm hard. "I need you to trust me right now. Go wash your hands thoroughly, then we're going to the hospital." "Patricia, what the hell? Now, Marcus?" She leans in close. "I can explain here, but if I'm right, you're in serious danger. Please." I've learned to trust my gut about people. Patricia doesn't panic. She doesn't overreact. The genuine fear in her eyes made my decision. 5 minutes later, we're in my car heading to Jefferson Hospital. Patricia had carefully put the flowers in a plastic evidence bag from my desk, wearing gloves, refusing to explain until we were alone. "Oleander," she finally says, hands shaking. "Those are oleander flowers, Marcus. Every single part of that plant is deadly toxic, even the pollen. If you breathed in deeply when you opened that box, if you touched your face after handling them," my mind's racing. "People send oleander all the time. Florists use them." "No, they absolutely don't. Not white oleander, not pure like that. It's way too dangerous. Any legitimate florist would use something that looks similar but is actually safe. These are real, Marcus." I recognize them immediately. We had a case study in medical school about a kid who died after putting a single leaf in his mouth. My hands tighten on the steering wheel. "Sienna wouldn't. I'm not making accusations, but someone sent you those flowers knowing exactly what they were. And if it wasn't your wife, you need to find out who did." The ER doctor, Dr. Wallace, took Patricia's warning seriously. After examining me and running blood work, he started me on activated charcoal as a precaution. "Your friend likely saved your life," he tells me, looking at the preliminary results. "You have elevated cardiac markers consistent with early oleander toxicity. Another few hours and we'd be looking at serious arrhythmia, possibly cardiac arrest." I'm sitting on the hospital bed and it hits me. Someone tried to eliminate me. Not in some heat of passion moment, but methodically, deliberately. They sent flowers, something that would seem innocent, even loving, to deliver poison. Patricia's standing by the window with her arms crossed. "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. How's your marriage?" "Fine," I say automatically. Then I stop. Is it fine? Truth is, I've been so focused on this trafficking case that I've barely been home in months. When I am there, Sienna seems distant. She started going to the gym obsessively, bought all new clothes, changed her hair. I figured she was just reinventing herself like she does every few years. "We've been married 7 years," I say slowly. Met through mutual friends. She's a pharmaceutical sales rep, travels a lot. We've been living parallel lives, I guess. Not bad, just separate. Life insurance? Patricia asks. The question hits me like a punch. $2 million policy, we both have them. Any financial problems? No, I make good money. She makes decent money. We're comfortable. Patricia pulls up a chair. Marcus, I'm sorry, but you need to think like an investigator now, not a husband. Who benefits if you die? I want to defend Sienna, but my training kicks in. She gets the insurance payout. The house, it's in both our names, but I paid most of the mortgage. My pension benefits, my savings. I pause. Maybe $3 million total. That's motive, Patricia says gently. But the flowers came with her name. That's too obvious, too stupid. If she wanted me dead, she'd be smarter than that. Unless she thought no one would catch it. Most people wouldn't recognize oleander. You'd get sick, your heart would fail, and doctors would likely rule it natural causes. Especially for someone your age with a stressful job. Without me seeing those flowers, without knowing what they were, you'd be another sad statistic. My mind's already working, shifting into investigator mode. I pull out my phone and call a contact at the Bureau's digital forensics lab. Carlos, I need you to pull my home security camera footage from this morning. Send it to my encrypted email. Yes now, it's urgent. While we wait, Dr. Wallace comes back with more test results. Good news is we caught it early enough. You'll need to stay overnight for monitoring, but you should make a full recovery. My phone buzzes. The footage arrived. Patricia and I watch it together. At 9:47 a.m., a delivery van pulls up, but it's not a commercial florist. It's a rental van. The driver's wearing a baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses and gloves. He leaves the box on the porch and drives away quickly. Run the plates, Patricia says. I'm already doing it. Rental from Enterprise. Rented yesterday afternoon. My blood goes cold. Rented by Trevor Ashford. Who's that? Sienna's regional manager. I met him twice at company events. Arrogant guy, maybe 35. Always seemed way too friendly with my wife. The pieces are falling into place, and I really don't like the picture they're forming. I convinced Dr. Wallace to let me make some calls from the hospital room. In reality, I'm activating a different kind of investigation, one that's entirely off the books. I start with my friend Nathan, a private investigator who's worked with the Bureau on contract cases. Nathan, I need eyes on my wife, discreet surveillance. I'll pay whatever. When you say your wife, I need to know where she goes, who she meets, everything, starting now. Jesus, Marcus, what's going on? Can't explain yet. Can you do it or not? For you, of course. Give me her details. Next, I call another contact, Julian, a tech specialist who's helped me trace digital footprints on countless cases. Julian, I need a deep dive on someone's digital life. Phone records, emails, social media, everything. Whose? I give him Sienna's information and Trevor Ashford's. Marcus, if this is for a case, you know I need proper warrants. It's not for a case, it's personal, and I need it fast. There's a pause. How fast? 24 hours? I'll see what I can do. Patricia's been listening, concern all over her face. Marcus, you're playing with fire here. If you're wrong, I'm not wrong. I look at her. My wife sent me poisonous flowers delivered by her boss. Even if there's a 1% chance I'm right about what's happening and I need to know. By evening, Nathan calls back. Your wife left your house at 4 p.m. She drove to the Rittenhouse Hotel. She's currently in room 1247. She's not alone. I close my eyes. Who's with her? Can't confirm from here, but a man matching Trevor Ashford's description entered the same room 20 minutes after she did. The betrayal cuts deeper than I expected. I'd suspected, but confirmation is different. Stay on her. I want to know everywhere she goes, everyone she meets. Julian's report comes through at midnight. I'm still in the hospital, connected to monitors, but my mind is wide awake. Patricia stayed, bringing me coffee and sitting with me like the good friend she is. The digital forensics are damning. Sienna and Trevor have been exchanging messages for 8 months. The communications were deleted from their primary devices, but Julian recovered them from cloud backups and metadata. The messages are explicit, both sexually and criminally. Once he's gone, we'll have everything, Sienna wrote. $3 million to start our life together. The oleander is perfect, Trevor replied. Natural plant toxin, hard to detect. We just need to make sure he handles them. He will. I know him. He'll be touched that I remembered Valentine's Day. He'll probably keep them on his desk all day. I read through the messages, each one like a knife. But underneath the pain, something colder is forming, something calculating. They tried to eliminate me using poison. They planned it meticulously. They thought they were smarter than me. They were wrong. Patricia, I say quietly, I need you to do something for me. Something that might get you in trouble. She looks at me steadily. What do you need? I need you to help me die. Patricia stares at me. You want to fake your end? Not fake. I want them to think the poison worked, just slower than they planned. My mind's racing now, piecing together a strategy. Dr. Wallace said oleander poisoning can cause cardiac arrest. What if I have a medical emergency tomorrow? What if I'm rushed to ICU and then don't make it? Marcus, that's insane. I'm talking about making them think they won. Let them get comfortable. Let them make mistakes. Meanwhile, I'll be building a case that puts them away forever. Patricia paces the room. Even if we could pull that off, and I'm not saying we can, you need death certificates, hospital records, funeral arrangements. The FBI would investigate. My colleague Derek owes me. I saved his career 3 years ago when he got caught up in a bad investigation. And I have other people who'd help if I explained. I sit up. Dr. Wallace seems like a good man. If I told him someone tried to eliminate me, if I showed him the evidence, would he help? You'd be risking his medical license. To catch a butcher. Some people still believe in justice, Patricia. She stops pacing. You're seriously going to do this? They tried to eliminate me. They planned it for months. And if I just arrest them now, what do we have? Circumstantial evidence. Deleted messages. A flower delivery. A good defense attorney could argue coincidence, claim the messages were taken out of context, say the florist made a mistake. They'd walk. So you want to trap them into revealing themselves? I want them to confess. I want them to celebrate my passing, to plan their future with my money, to show their true colors. And then I want to take everything from them. Patricia sits down heavily. This is crazy. Will you help me? She looks at me for a long moment. Your wife tried to homicide you with flowers? Yeah, I'll help you haunt her. The next morning, Dr. Wallace listens to my plan with growing concern. But when I show him the messages, the evidence, his expression hardens. My sister was homicided by her husband, he says quietly. He got away with it because the evidence wasn't strong enough. I won't let that happen again. He looks at me. But we do this right. Legal enough that it won't blow back on anyone helping you. We spend the day choreographing my end. Dr. Wallace has a colleague, Dr. Castello, who specializes in cardiology. She agrees to help after seeing the evidence, particularly moved by the calculated cruelty of the poisoning method. That evening, my heart monitor suddenly goes haywire. Nurses rush in. Dr. Wallace and Dr. Castello work frantically. At 8:47 p.m., Marcus Holloway is pronounced dead from cardiac arrest, secondary to acute toxic exposure. The death certificate is real, signed by Dr. Wallace and filed with the state. But I'm very much alive, moved to a private room in a closed wing of the hospital under an assumed name, monitored by the minimal staff who know the truth. Derek, who's been read into the plan, makes the notification to Sienna personally. Nathan, positioned outside the Rittenhouse Hotel, records everything. Sienna's reaction when Derek arrives at the hotel room is Oscar-worthy. She collapses sobbing, clutching Trevor's arm for support. No, please, not Marcus. But after Derek leaves, after they think they're alone, Nathan's audio surveillance catches something different. It worked. Sienna breathes, her tears gone. Oh my God, Trevor, it actually worked. I told you it would. Now we just need to wait a respectable amount of time, then I'm not waiting. I'm filing a life insurance claim tomorrow. We can say I need the money for funeral expenses. Baby, slow down. We need to be smart about this. I've been smart for 7 years, pretending to love that boring man. I'm done waiting. I listened to the recording with Derek and Patricia in my hospital room, my expression unreadable. I'm sorry, man, Derek says. I know hearing that can't be easy. It's clarifying, I reply. Now we know exactly who we're dealing with. The funeral is scheduled for 6 days later. Enough time for Sienna to file the insurance claim and for me to watch my own life dissolve from my hospital room. Coordinating with my small team of allies, I orchestrate an elaborate surveillance operation. Nathan has bugs planted in my house. Julian is monitoring all of Sienna and Trevor's communications. Derek is feeding them information about the investigation into my passing, keeping them calm. What emerges is worse than I imagined. Sienna had been planning this for over a year, not 8 months. She'd researched methods of undetectable homicide, consulted with Trevor about his access to pharmaceutical knowledge through his job. They'd considered and discarded multiple options before settling on Oleander. But there's more. The messages reveal that Sienna stopped taking her birth control 6 months ago, hoping to get pregnant. Not with my child, with Trevor's. Imagine, she'd written, if I'd gotten pregnant before we did it, then I'd be stuck pretending it was his. Thank God that didn't happen. I feel physically ill reading it. I'd wanted children. Sienna always claimed she wasn't ready, needed more time. The betrayal compounds on itself. 3 days after my end, Sienna meets with an insurance adjuster. Nathan records the meeting from a nearby table at the cafe. I just need this to be over, Sienna says, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. The financial stress on top of losing Marcus is overwhelming. I understand, Mrs. Holloway. These things take time, but given the circumstances, natural causes, no suspicious findings, we should be able to process your claim within a few weeks. Weeks? I have funeral expenses, mortgage payments. We can advance you $50,000 for immediate expenses. Will that help? Sienna's tears dry up remarkably fast. Yes, that would help. That night, I watched through Nathan's feed as Sienna and Trevor celebrate in my house, in my bed. 50 grand is just the start, Trevor says, popping champagne. Once the full amount comes through, we're gone. I'm thinking Caribbean, somewhere without extradition. Why would we need somewhere without extradition? Sienna laughs. Baby, we eliminated someone. Even if it looks natural, I'm not taking chances. We take the money and disappear. Patricia, watching with me, puts a hand on my shoulder. You okay? They're drinking champagne in my bed, celebrating my homicide. How do you think I am? I think you're about to make them regret every decision they've ever made. I smile, but it doesn't reach my eyes. You're right about that. The funeral is surreal. I watch via hidden camera as 200 people gather to mourn me. Colleagues from the bureau, old friends, family members who flew in. My mother is devastated. She's 74, and watching her grieve for her son while I sit alive in a hospital room is the hardest part of this entire plan. I wanted to tell her, but Derek convinced me otherwise. The more people who know, the more likely someone slips. Your mother can't lie to save her life, Marcus. Sienna would see through her in a second. So I watch my mother sob over my empty casket and force myself to remember why I'm doing this. She's clutching a photo of me from childhood, tears streaming down her face, and I have to look away. Patricia squeezes my shoulder. This will be over soon, she says, and then you can tell her the truth. I know. I say, but my voice cracks. Doesn't make it easier. The camera shows my mother approaching the casket, placing her hand on it. My baby boy, she whispers, and I can hear it through the audio feed. I wasn't supposed to outlive you. Derek, standing next to me, looks uncomfortable. Man, maybe we should... No, I say firmly. We finish this. She'll understand when it's over. But watching her pain, knowing I'm causing it, even for a good reason, is almost unbearable. I make a mental note to take her on a long vacation after this is all done, somewhere she's always wanted to go. Maybe Hawaii. She's always talked about seeing Hawaii. Sienna plays the grieving widow perfectly. She wears black, accepts condolences graciously, even gives a touching eulogy about our love story. It makes my blood boil. Trevor attends too, standing at the back, playing the concerned boss checking on his employee. At the reception afterward, I watch them exchange glances. Brief, careful, but telling. After the funeral, the real work begins. I've spent my career following money. Now I turn those skills on Sienna and Trevor. With surgical precision, Julian helps me access their financial records. Technically illegal without a warrant, but I crossed that line the moment I faked my passing. What I find is a blueprint for their new life. Trevor's been moving money into offshore accounts for months, small amounts, untraceable, building a nest egg. He bought property in Belize under Shell Corporation. They researched new identities. This isn't just homicide for insurance money. This is a complete exit strategy. The detail is staggering. They have fake passports already made, purchased through some dark web connection. They've been learning Spanish together through an app, preparing for their new life. Trevor even set up a fake consulting business in Belize, to explain their income once they arrived. They thought of everything, or so they believed. I spend hours going through their digital trail, and it's like watching a masterclass in premeditated homicide. They researched oleander toxicity for weeks, reading medical journals, toxicology reports, even case studies of accidental poisonings. Sienna had bookmarked an article about a woman who died from oleander tea, highlighting the passage about how it mimics heart attack symptoms. There's even a spreadsheet detailing their timeline. Week 1, establish alibi. Week 2, acquire oleander. Week 3, delivery and execution. Week 4, grieving widow performance. Week 6, insurance claim. Week 8, disappear. They had it all planned out like a project management document. The cold calculation of it makes my stomach turn. But there are loose ends. Trevor confided in someone, his cousin Ryan, who works in IT and helped him set up the offshore accounts. Ryan doesn't know about the homicide, but he knows about the money movement, which makes him a potential witness. More concerning, Sienna told her sister, I listened to the recorded phone call with mounting anger. Sienna's sister, Vanessa, lives in Boston. 3 days before my end, Sienna called her. Vanessa, I'm about to do something terrible, but I need you to know I had good reasons. Sienna, you're scaring me. What's going on? I can't tell you details, but if something happens to Marcus, I need you to support me. I need you to act surprised and sad and not ask questions. Jesus, Sienna, did you hurt him? I'm getting us both out of bad situations. Just trust me. Vanessa agreed, whether out of loyalty or cowardice, I can't tell. But it means she's an accomplice after the fact. The web is bigger than I thought, and that gives me more targets for justice. We need to flip Ryan, I tell Derek. He's the weak link. He doesn't know about the homicide, so he's not in as deep. We offer him immunity in exchange for testimony about the financial fraud. And the sister? She's trickier, but I have an idea. I have Patricia make a call to Vanessa, posing as an attorney for the insurance company on Ms. Caldwell, we're conducting due diligence on your sister's claim. We have some questions about statements she made to you before her husband's passing. The panic in Vanessa's voice is immediate. I don't know what you're talking about. We have phone records indicating a concerning conversation. If you're withholding information relevant to a potential fraud investigation, I want a lawyer. That's your right. But I should inform you that cooperation at this stage could be beneficial if there are any legal complications. Vanessa cracks within an hour, calling Sienna in a panic. Nathan's bugs catch every word. She knows, Sienna. The insurance company knows you told me something was going to happen. Calm down. They're fishing. They have nothing. They mentioned fraud. They said I could be in legal trouble. You won't be. Just stick to the story. You didn't know anything. I was just being dramatic and worried, that's all. But the seed of doubt is planted. Vanessa is terrified, and terrified people make mistakes. I sit back watching my plan unfold. All the pieces are moving into position. Soon, it'll be time to spring the trap. 2 weeks after my funeral, Marcus Holloway walks into the FBI's Philadelphia field office. The reaction is predictable. Gasps, dropped coffee cups. Derek grinning like a maniac, because he's the only one who knew. What the hell, Marcus? Is this real? I go straight to Special Agent in Charge Brennan's office. Sir, I need to brief you on something urgent. 30 minutes later, Brennan sits back in his chair, processing what he just heard. You faked your passing to catch your wife and her lover for attempted homicide? Yes, sir. And you have recordings, financial evidence, and witness testimony? All of it obtained creatively. Brennan rubs his temples. Marcus, you know half this evidence won't be admissible in court. I know, but I needed to understand the full scope. Now I do, and now I want to do this properly. I want warrants. I want legal surveillance. I want to build a case that puts them away for decades. The prosecutor is going to have a field day with your methods. Let them. I'm alive. That proves attempted homicide right there. Everything else is just icing. Brennan makes a decision. I'll call the U.S. attorney. But Marcus, you're suspended pending an internal review of your actions. Understood, sir. And you're going to therapy. Mandatory. Yes, sir. Now get out of my office before I change my mind about helping you. The legal machinery grinds into motion. With my evidence as a roadmap, federal prosecutors obtain legitimate warrants. They seize Sienna and Trevor's phones, computers, financial records. They bring in Ryan and Vanessa for questioning. Ryan, faced with financial fraud charges, immediately flips. He provides detailed testimony about Trevor's offshore accounts, the shell corporations, the money movement. He didn't know about the homicide, but his testimony establishes premeditation and planning. Vanessa is harder. She'd been complicit, and she knows it. But when federal agents show up at her Boston apartment with evidence of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, she breaks down. I didn't know she was going to eliminate him, I swear. She just said she was leaving him, that she needed my support. But you suspected something more serious, didn't you, Ms. Caldwell? I didn't want to believe it. Your sister confided in you days before her husband died under suspicious circumstances, and you said nothing. That makes you an accessory. Vanessa hires a lawyer who negotiates a plea deal. Full cooperation in exchange for reduced charges. But I want more than legal justice. I want them to feel what I felt. The betrayal, the fear, the violation of trust. So I orchestrate one final performance. Sienna and Trevor still don't know I'm alive. The FBI kept my resurrection quiet, and everyone involved in the case has been sworn to secrecy. From Sienna's perspective, everything is going according to plan. The insurance company approved her claim. The money will be transferred within days. She and Trevor have plane tickets to Belize for next week. What they don't know is that every conversation is being recorded, every plan documented, and I'm about to make my entrance. On a Wednesday evening, 3 weeks after my passing, Sienna comes home to find someone sitting in the living room. She screams, dropping her keys. "Hello, Sienna," I say calmly. She stares at me, her face cycling through shock, confusion, terror. You're dead." "Apparently not." I stand up slowly. Surprise. How? What? The oleander didn't work. Patricia recognized it, got me to the hospital in time. They saved me. Sienna's mind is clearly racing, trying to adjust, trying to find an angle. "Oleander? Marcus, I don't understand. Those were just flowers. I sent you flowers." From Trevor Ashford, who rented a van under his own name and delivered poisonous flowers to my office. Not your smartest play. Her face goes pale. Those weren't supposed to be. It was a mistake. The florist must have. Stop. My voice is cold. I've spent 3 weeks listening to every conversation you and Trevor have had. I've read every message. I know everything, Sienna. The affair, the planning, the offshore accounts, the life you're going to build with my insurance money. She backs toward the door. You're insane. You're making this up. Am I making up the champagne celebration in our bedroom? The property in Belize? Your sister's confession to federal agents this morning? Sienna's hand finds the doorknob. I want a lawyer. Too late for that, I smile. See, the FBI has been very interested in your activities. They're outside right now, actually. They wanted to give me a few minutes to talk to you first. Professional courtesy. As if on cue, there's a knock at the door. Special Agent Brennan enters with 4 other agents. Sienna Holloway, you're under arrest for attempted homicide, conspiracy to commit homicide, insurance fraud, and wire fraud. As they cuff her, Sienna finally breaks. This isn't fair. You faked your end. You can't use that against me. Actually, I say, I can. Because while I might have deceived you about being dead, you actively tried to make me dead. Big difference. Simultaneously, Trevor Ashford is being arrested at his apartment. Nathan, now working officially with the FBI, has the pleasure of leading that operation. Trevor tries to run, making it as far as the parking lot before being tackled by 3 agents. As they haul him up, Nathan makes sure to tell him, Marcus Holloway says hello. He's alive, by the way. Thought you'd want to know. The look on Trevor's face is worth everything. The trial takes 8 months to get to court. In that time, I undergo therapy, both court-mandated and voluntary, to process the trauma of my wife's betrayal. Patricia remains a constant friend throughout, often joining me for coffee and conversation. How are you really doing? She asks. Better than I was, I answer honestly. Some days are harder than others. But mostly, I feel free, like I escaped something that would have destroyed me eventually. Even if she hadn't tried to eliminate me, my therapist, Dr. Ramirez, helps me work through the complicated emotions. The betrayal, yes, but also the guilt about faking my passing, about putting my mother through that pain, about the legally questionable methods I used to gather evidence. You did what you felt you had to do to survive, she tells me. That doesn't make it simple, but it makes it understandable. I tell her about the nights I can't sleep, replaying every moment of my marriage, looking for signs I missed. She was planning to eliminate me for over a year, I say. How did I not see it? I'm trained to spot deception. You loved her, Dr. Ramirez says simply. Love makes us blind to things we'd otherwise see. That's not a weakness, Marcus. That's being human. Patricia and I grow closer during this time. It starts as friendship, two people who went through something intense together. But slowly, carefully, it becomes something more. She understands what I went through in a way no one else can. She was there from the beginning, saved my life, helped me through the darkest period. Is this too fast? I ask her one evening over dinner. Am I rebounding or something? She considers it seriously. Maybe a little, but I don't think that makes it less real. We've been through something most people never experience. That creates a bond. I don't want to mess this up, I admit. You're too important to me. Then we take it slow, she says. We figure it out as we go. No pressure, no expectations, just us. And that's exactly what we do. The case against Sienna and Trevor is overwhelming. The prosecution presents the deleted messages detailing their plan, financial records showing the offshore accounts and shell corporations, Ryan's testimony about the money movement, Vanessa's testimony about Sienna's pre-homicide confession, the rental records for the van Trevor used to deliver the flowers, toxicology reports confirming the oleander poisoning, Patricia's testimony about recognizing the flowers and saving my life, and most damning, the recordings of Sienna and Trevor celebrating my end. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Assistant U.S. Attorney Melissa Thornton, presents the case methodically. She plays the audio of Sienna and Trevor celebrating my passing in court. The jury's faces show their disgust. Several jurors visibly recoil when they hear Sienna say, "I've been smart for 7 years, pretending to love that boring man." When it's my turn to testify, I walk through everything calmly, professionally. I explain how Patricia saved my life, how I made the decision to fake my passing to gather evidence, how I watched my own funeral. The defense attorney tries to paint me as manipulative, as someone who orchestrated an elaborate scheme to frame his innocent wife. Mr. Holloway, isn't it true that you faked your end specifically to entrap my client? No, I say calmly. I faked my passing because your client tried to eliminate me, and I wanted to ensure she couldn't claim the insurance money and disappear before justice could be served. But you manipulated her. I survived her homicide attempt. Everything after that was her choice. She chose to celebrate my passing. She chose to file a fraudulent insurance claim. She chose to plan her escape to Belize. I didn't make her do any of those things. The defense has no good answer for that. Their defense attorneys try to argue entrapment, claiming I manipulated them by faking my end. The judge shuts that down immediately. Mr. Holloway's actions after the attempted homicide do not negate the defendant's actions before and during the homicide attempt. The fact that he survived and chose an unconventional method to gather evidence does not excuse the defendant's criminal behavior. The jury deliberates for 3 hours, guilty on all counts. Trevor Ashford receives 25 years in federal prison. His pharmaceutical career is over, his reputation destroyed. The man who thought he was clever enough to get away with homicide will spend the next quarter century behind bars. Sienna receives 30 years, a longer sentence because of the betrayal of marital trust and the particular cruelty of her method. The judge, a stern woman named Judge Morrison, doesn't mince words at sentencing. Mrs. Holloway, you violated the most fundamental trust that exists between spouses. You planned your husband's passing with the cold calculation of a hired butcher, but with the added betrayal of someone who'd promised to love and cherish him. Your lack of remorse, even after being caught, demonstrates a profound moral bankruptcy. This court hopes that your time in prison will give you the opportunity for reflection and redemption, though, frankly, I doubt you're capable of either. Vanessa receives 3 years probation and a substantial fine for her role as an accessory after the fact. Her relationship with Sienna is permanently severed. Ryan, in exchange for his cooperation, receives immunity and walks away with a clean record, though his reputation in his field is damaged. After the sentencing, I stand on the courthouse steps with Patricia, Derek, and Nathan. How does it feel? Derek asks. Like justice, I say. Imperfect, messy, but justice nonetheless. Patricia smiles. What's next for you? I'm taking a leave of absence from the bureau. Going to travel, actually, see some places I've never been, do some things I've been putting off. Alone? Patricia asks carefully. I look at her, really look at her. The woman who saved my life, who stood by me through everything, who risked her own career to help me get justice. Actually, I say, I was hoping you might want to join me, if you're not sick of dealing with my drama by now. She laughs. Marcus, I literally helped you fake your passing and solve your own attempted homicide. If I was going to get sick of you, it would have happened by now. 6 months later, Patricia and I are in Italy, sitting at a cafe in Rome, watching the sunset. I sold the house. Too many bad memories. I donated half the insurance money Sienna fraudulently claimed to charities supporting domestic violence sufferers. The rest I put toward my new life. My mother, after recovering from the shock of my resurrection, moved closer to me. She and Patricia get along famously, much to my amusement. When I finally told her I was alive, she slapped me, hugged me, slapped me again, then cried for an hour. Don't you ever do that to me again, she said through her tears. I don't care if someone's trying to eliminate you. You tell your mother. I promised I would, though. I hope there's never a reason to test that promise. Now, sitting in Rome with Patricia, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Peace. Real, genuine peace. The kind that comes from knowing you survived something that should have destroyed you and came out stronger on the other side. Your mother wants to know when we're making it official, Patricia says, sipping her wine. Making what official? Us. She thinks we should get married. I laugh. We've been dating for 6 months, and most of that time I've been in therapy processing my last marriage. I think we can take it slow. Good, because I'm not ready to plan a wedding. But she reaches across the table and takes my hand. I am ready to keep doing this, whatever this is. This is good, I say. This is really good. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment, watching people walk by, living their lives, unaware of the drama we've been through. It's nice being anonymous, being just another couple, enjoying Italy. Do you ever think about what would have happened if I hadn't walked by your desk that day? Patricia asks quietly. All the time, I admit. I'd be dead. Sienna would have gotten away with it. She'd be living in Belize with Trevor, spending my money, probably laughing about how easy it was. That's a dark thought. It's the truth. But you did walk by. You did recognize those flowers. And that changed everything. She squeezes my hand. I'm glad I did. Me too. My phone buzzes. A message from Derek. Just saw Sienna's appeal was denied. She's officially stuck for 30 years. Thought you'd want to know. I show Patricia the message. How do you feel about that? She asks. Honestly? Nothing. She's not part of my life anymore. She's just someone who made very bad choices and is paying for them. I put the phone away. I've spent so much energy being angry, wanting revenge, but now I just want to live. Then let's live, Patricia says, raising her glass. To second chances. To second chances, I echo, clinking my glass against hers. As the sun sets over Rome, I smile. I'd been poisoned, betrayed, and nearly homicided. But I survived. I fought back, and I won. Not because I destroyed my enemies, though I did, but because I refused to let their evil destroy me. People ask me sometimes if I regret how I handled it, if I would do things differently. The answer is complicated. I broke rules, bent laws, put people I cared about in difficult positions. I made my mother grieve for a son who wasn't dead. Those things weigh on me. But I'm alive, Sienna and Trevor are in prison where they belong. And I found something real with Patricia. Something I never had with Sienna, even in the beginning. So no, I don't regret it. I'd do it all again if I had to. The waiter brings us another bottle of wine, and Patricia and I toast to the future. Whatever it holds, we'll face it together. And after everything I've been through, that feels like the greatest gift of all. In the end, that was the greatest victory of all.